since we're already in it, there are going to be people out there who say, this guy he's talking about every conspiracy theory I ever heard in the whole book. Since we're already in it, to take a slightly different tack, but still within the realm of what Wikipedia is going to call it, conspiracy theories, do you believe in aliens?
Well, I will say this, the intelligence community, large sectors of it believe in aliens.
Really?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's a big, I mean, they're constantly discussing these things. Yes. And if you look at the global elite, you know, and you wonder, well, I don't want to blame the world banksters for this, that's a conspiracy theory. Then who is pulling all those strings? Okay? Could there be another kind of entity, aliens, demons, whatever? Could there be something that's pulling their strings that the global banksters know about, right? And they're taking orders from, but they're being totally concealed and hidden from the public. This is a viable hypothesis, and it's one that the intelligence communities don't reject.
It's funny you pose
which is, kind of neither here nor there, because the intelligence communities themselves could be run by aliens, for all we know.
People are going to be laughing when you say that there are aliens that
let them laugh, okay? But they won't be able to come up with any supporting argument against what I'm saying. They don't know enough.
Well,
they're ignorant.
It's funny that you mention aliens and demons in the same breath, because I don't particularly believe in aliens. I mean, what do I know? There are a lot of things I don't know about. But I certainly believe that demons exist. I'm pretty confident that demons exist. I'm less confident that aliens exist.
Well, but the thing is, a lot of people are reporting that they're seeing these UFOs and
the tic-tac.
Other strange alien-suggestive phenomena.
Yeah. So what is something like, they call it the tic-tac, of these weird UFOs that seem to violate the laws of physics?
Correct. Basically, they look like, little, blobs of light or spheres that can commit these maneuvers that are totally against the laws of physics as we understand them, right? They look like they have mass, but somehow they're not subject to inertia. They can turn on a dime, on a right angle, and continue at the same speed. They can accelerate at, a tremendous, with tremendous G-forces. Okay, how can that happen?
Do you have any theory?
Well, yes, I do. But it's it's fairly involved. Basically, when you reduce the world to telesis, and you understand that reality consists of a merging of mind and matter. It's an interplay, of the two.
It's not just stuff, and it's not just pure abstraction.
It can be real without necessarily being a completely physical phenomenon. Okay? In other words, there can be a mental component to it. Right? And that is what I think is happening here. I think that actually there's something to it. The number of people that report UFO incidents is simply too large. People aren't, they're not all liars. They don't run around risking their reputations by saying, okay, I'm going to make a nut out of myself and say, these UFOs exist.
But couldn't they just be nuts?
Well, I suppose they could.
But you're saying there's too many.
I'm saying it's very improbable that they are. I mean, because not that many people are that nutty.
Well, my friend Andrew Clavin, who you met earlier, he has this party trick, which is he's a mystery writer, and he has written ghost stories and things. And at dinner parties, he'll say, hey, I'll ask a random person, he'll say, hey, have you ever seen a ghost? And he says a lot of the time, people will say yes. And throughout history, people report having seen a ghost.
That is correct.
And he says, too many people are saying they've seen a ghost for there not to be ghosts, or something like a ghost.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
I've seen things that look like ghosts. Yeah.
Such as?
I have. I've seen things that look like UFOs, too. They're there. I mean, if you're not a very observant person, you'll never see anything like that. If your mind is completely closed and you just screen all that stuff out, you'll never see anything like that. But if you're an open-minded person and you're observant, you will see things like that eventually. Okay?
I don't want to put you on the spot to give an example, because sometimes if I describe an experience that I would call religious or numinous, sometimes people say, well, describe it. And I say, I can go around the edges, but it's somewhat ineffable. Could you describe such an experience?
Well, yes, I could describe such an experience. Okay. Well, on the UFO thing, I was working for the Forest Service near Lewiston, Montana, in the Lewis and Clark National Forest, not too far from Malmstrom Air Force Base. And I was in charge of a mountain range called the Little Snowies. Okay, I was the fire guard, the regional fire guard for that area. And I was alone up there. There were campgrounds, and I'd go up and tend to the campgrounds, and make sure that they were all cleaned up and everything. And that was one of my duties. And I had to be a fire guard, which means putting out forest spotting and putting out forest fires, and things like that. One day I was up there in a Forest Service pickup truck at a certain campground, and I was there, and suddenly I look up, and I say suddenly, it was just in the sky. I became aware that it was up there, and I looked up. There's this huge spheroidal, but elliptical, not a perfect spheroid, like a saucer that was turned partially on its side.
Okay.
And I thought, well, that must be one of those, lenticular clouds that I've heard of. So I looked at it and I figured, okay, now I wonder how this evolves in time. Totally changeless. I actually took sticks and I tried to use parallax to figure out, what is this thing? Why isn't it changing? Why isn't it moving? Why is it completely featureless and metallic looking? Well, it wasn't any lenticular cloud, okay? And I literally stared at it for a long, long time before I finally just got, okay, it's there, got back in my pickup and drove away.
Did you call it in or anything? Or?
Well, I've told a number of people about it. Yeah, I didn't call it in, no. It was irrelevant to the state of my campgrounds,
It's funny you mentioned, because sometimes people say, this is a little different than seeing a UFO, but somewhat related. People will say, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in Christianity because I don't believe in miracles. If miracles really happened, we'd all know about it. And if you look at the gospel accounts of miracles happening, the wildest part of it is not the miracle happening. It's the fact that when the miracle happens, everyone treats it as this miraculous event, and then 5 seconds later they move on, and people treat it as totally ordinary. And this happens again and again and again. It's even happened. I would say that I've experienced things that are miraculous.
Yes.
And even in my own life, not 1 week later, I'm just going about my business as though it never happened. Or I'll forget that it happened. Or anything. It was a miracle, shouldn't that?
Right, but you don't deny that they happened.
No.
Right.
No,
That's
I don't.
the important thing. Because then you're really nuts.
Yeah. when you deny that it happened,
Yes,
right? Because you're so beholden to some preconceived notion of the way things
That's
are.
correct. So who are the real nuts? Obviously, they're the people that are doing all the talk about the alien conspiracy theories. Okay? There's obviously something there, or the number of people that report them wouldn't be reporting them. There are people in the CIA who actually claim to have been abducted. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but they're there. Okay? And we're not talking about small individuals. We're not talking about low-ranking individuals. We're talking about high-ranking individuals.
These people, not just that you've read a book about, you're saying these people you've talked to. Or
People that, there was one of them in particular that I was actually, somebody that I knew was trying to arrange an introduction to this person. And I said, well, okay, so he's in the, CIA. Is he going to tell me the truth? I'm not in the CIA. Is he going to tell me the truth about anything? Well, no, actually what he wants to talk about is abductions, because, he and his wife were actually abducted by aliens, and he wants to talk to you about it. And I said, well, is he going to tell me the truth about anything? Well, I don't know. I said, then I don't want to talk to him. Okay, I don't want to talk to him at all. There has to be some kind of understanding that I'm not going to get lied to, otherwise I'm wasting my time, because I'll never know whether he's lying or telling the truth. So if somebody isn't going to commit up front to telling me the truth, I don't have time for him.
If he were a really smart liar, he would have just said, I will tell you the truth, and lied even if he wanted to.
I suppose so.
So,
that's what they do in the CIA.
Yeah, right.